Today we're going to be doing a pickup shootout. We're going to be comparing original 1978 T-top pickups to newer Seymour Duncan and DiMarzios in this beautiful 1978 Gibson Les Paul Custom. Stay tuned. Welcome back, all my gear addicted friends. We're taking a second look at this beautiful 1978 Gibson Les Paul Custom that was graciously lent to me. I'm having a blast with this guitar, and I'm gonna really hate giving it back, unfortunately, but don't worry, Mike, you're gonna get your guitar back, I promise. We did a deep dive video on this guitar. If you missed that video, shame on you, but you can catch the video here. I'll put the link so you can see that. We really went into a lot of detail in that video on this guitar, all the nuances. We looked at everything. So if you're interested in a nice vintage 78 Gibson Les Paul Custom, not a reissue, then you want to check out that video. Now, this guitar definitely has a lot of mojo, but as I mentioned in that original video, the original pickups had been removed and replaced with a Seymour Duncan and a DiMarzio. So the original pickups, which were T-tops, were taken out and basically put in a drawer somewhere for many, many years. We finally decided to take them and put them back into the guitar where they belong. So before we did that, I wanted to shoot a comparison video for you guys because there was no playing samples in my previous video. So I wanted to do a comparison video of both sets of pickups, so you guys can hear them side by side and give us your opinion as to which pickups you feel best match this guitar. There's no right or wrong when it comes to pickups. It's just a question of what you prefer. It's kind of like ice cream, what flavor do you prefer? There's no really bad ice cream flavors, is there? People do have their preferences when it comes to tone. So I'm going to be playing this guitar for you today. We're going to be going into my Marshall Studio Plexi just behind me here. And it's going to be going into my 4x12 Marshall cab. We're going to be miking the entire thing with a fathead ribbon mic, and it's going to be going straight into my DAW. I'm going to be playing clean and dirty so you can hear the nuances between the two and really get a good impression of what the pickups actually sound like. Now, while I was taking the pickups out of this guitar and replacing the originals, I actually took a look inside the cavities. And I actually was a little bit surprised because I was under the impression that these older Gibson Les Paul Customs were made entirely of mahogany, unlike the Les Pauls that had a maple cap and a mahogany back. But it looks like this guitar also has a maple cap, and I wasn't expecting to see that. So maybe I'm mistaken. I know that they were doing quite a variety of things on these models back in the day. So it could very well be that, that was the run at the time. But I was a little surprised to see that, and I'll share the picture of that with you. I also think that the neck on this guitar may also be maple because where the wear came off, and you can see that in the original video, it seems quite pale, almost a little bit too pale to be mahogany. I could be mistaken, guys. I've made mistakes before, but I did read somewhere that at some point these guitars were also being made with maple necks. So it could very well be that this is one of those. I'm not really sure. If you guys have more information on that, please share. That's why we're here. So without further ado, let's plug in this bad boy and hear what it sounds like. more modern pickups, the Seymour Duncan and the DiMarzios, definitely sounded more compressed. Definitely the DiMarzio had more output, but it sounded more closed and more compressed to me. There was definitely a big jump in volume between the neck and the bridge pickup, and that's no wonder, since, you know, the output on these things it's almost double. So the neck was very low, was about 7.8, and the bridge was almost double that. So definitely a bigger jump, less balance between the two, and they didn't sound as vintagey. They definitely had a more modern flavor to them. Now the T-tops, in my opinion, definitely were a little bit more brighter. They had more of a vintage tone to them, and were definitely more balanced between the neck and the bridge. There's no surprise there, since the output is identical in both the neck and the bridge pickup. They both had a little bit of squealing there at the end, but I kind of like that. I kind of like pickups that do that. I did feel that since the original pickups had covers that were soldered in place, and the replacements didn't, you definitely could hear the uncontrolled feedback happening. You would hear the sound wavering at the end when you were strumming the chord with a little bit more output and gain. It was kind of losing control and breaking up, and you could definitely hear that with the pickups and the covers not being actually soldered in place. So definitely you were getting more feedback because of that. To be fair, I didn't change the strings between sound samples. The original strings that were on this guitar is what I played both sound samples on. They're not new strings. They're actually quite old, and they actually need to be updated. But I left them on just to be fair, so we can hear both of the pickups with the old strings on them. So definitely with new strings, both pickups will definitely sound a little bit livelier and brighter. And other than that, I think we just heard a little bit of the Gibson Les Paul tuning stability issues at the end of those clips. When I was actually strumming the chord and letting it ring, you can tell that the notes were slightly out of tune. I do think the guitar does need a little intonation, because you were hearing that. I think that gives you a better understanding of what the pickups sound like side by side. So give me your comments. Let me hear what you guys think. If you have any questions about this guitar, the pickups, or gear in general, I'm always happy to answer your questions. That's it for today's video. I hope you're getting something of value out of this video. If you think you're getting value, please subscribe. We can always use some more subscribers to our channel. That's it for now, guys. Thank you. Keep rocking. There'll be more great stuff here on Addicted to Gear.